Now then, how you doing? I'm going to use these random pieces of wood to save myself $505. Yeah, 400 quid, man. I'm going to make my own Grove Made inspired desk shelf. I'm hoping just to use what I've got in the workshop and not spend a penny. But if I do, I'll break down all the costs and show you how much I've spent, and more importantly, how much I've saved at the end of the video. Welcome to Steve Bell Creates. This video is sponsored by PCB Assembly. So like most projects, I'm just starting off by cutting this down with a track saw. I'll roughly cut it to width, and then I'll cut it exactly on the table saw.
Break it down.
Now it's just a case of squaring up one end and then cutting the shelf to length. So this piece of plywood was originally a tabletop for a party for my 60th birthday. I then used it as a spoil board to cut out a massive crown for the Queen's Jubilee party. So it's sadly time to say goodbye to the crown, and I'm going to use this filler that I mix up with water. I know exactly what you're thinking. Okay, while that dries, let's tidy up this piece of ash that's going to be the legs for our shelf. I just run it over the planer, joint one side, and stick it through the thicknesser just to tidy it up. And I'll give it a quick sand now while it's all in one piece. Okay, bye bye crown. Okay, now this is my secret weapon. A good friend of mine, Nick James, who's a real furniture maker, was tidying his workshop out after Christmas and said, "Steve, do you want some veneer? Well, look at this, my God." And yes, it was free. So now I'm just going to cut it up with some household scissors. This is my first time working with veneer and I wasn't too sure how to stick it all down. So I went for contact adhesive. I don't know whether that's the right thing or not, but we'll soon find out. I put the adhesive both on the plywood and the veneer and let it dry for 30 minutes. And then it was the moment of truth. Will it stick? And will I make a good job of it? I used a firm roller that we use for block printing just to push the veneer onto the wood, and it seems to work really good. I let it all dry overnight. Then I trimmed off the excess veneer with my palm router with a flush trim bit. Look at the concentration on my face. Go on, Steve. There was a slight disaster because some of the edge of the veneer hadn't stuck. But a quick subcutaneous injection of wood glue hopefully will solve the problem. and I clamped up the edge using some wood wrapped in packing tape so it wouldn't stick to the veneer, clamped that up and left that again overnight. So while the glue dries on the shelf, let's turn our attention back to the legs, first cutting them to width and then cutting the individual pieces. And this plywood will form the lower shelf. So this is me trying to decide which is the best face of the shelf. Go on, Steve, don't think too hard. And no Steve Bell Creates video will be complete without a shot out of focus. A rare sighting of me using hand tools. What next? So by rounding over the corners, we've turned a plain plank of wood into a premium plank of wood. So we can make the shelf feel even more premium by adding a chamfer to the underside. And as you can see, I'm just taking light passes each time. And believe me, the best way to get a premium feeling on your projects is hand sanding. This is me sanding up to 240 grit, but it just feels so good. I'm going to route the holes for the middle shelf in here. So to make things a little bit easier for myself, I made a jig out of some scrap MDF with a little fence this way so the leg can't move that way, and a stop so it can't move forward, and a little bench hook on the bottom so again it can't move around on me, and I've put a couple of dogs in there so it can't go that way. Wish me luck. Okay, let's have a bit of dry assembly and see where we're at. I'm excited now, it's looking good. Come on. So I'm not going to rest my computer monitor on top of the shelf, and I'm just using this little divider piece. If I was going to put any weight on the shelf, I would make a third leg and put that in the middle. Hope that makes sense. Okay, let's just take a pause for a moment on the shelf. The Grove made shelves have these beautiful trays, desk trays, and they're made from cork and aluminium. Now, I ain't got no cork and I ain't got no aluminium, but what I do have is a 3D printer. I looked online and I found some files on printables, and I think they'll work great, so I'll get to work printing them out. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Steve, that's okay for you. I haven't got a 3D printer. Well, not to worry, because the sponsor of today's video is PCB Way. PCB Way don't just make PCBs, they also do CNCing and 3D printing. Their services are really easy to use. You just go to their website, upload your file, choose the colour and the finish that you want, and they will make it and have it dispatched to you and delivered to your door. And they also have excellent customer service. So if you want to use their services, head on over to PCBWay.com. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Now, let's get back to making those legs. They ain't going to make themselves. So again, I'm just taking a plain piece of wood, and by rounding over the bottom corners, we're just making it feel that bit special. And then to top that off, adding a small chamfer to the edges just adds that extra special touch. And as you can see, off camera, I've drilled some holes through the legs so that I can attach them to the shelf. I stole a couple of pieces of felt from my wife. Shh, don't tell her. And I'm gluing these to the middle shelf, again, just to add that premium feeling. Okay, it's time for the final assembly. So this is me attaching the middle divider, and I have this horrible moment where I think, have you gone too far with them screws, Steve? Have they come through the other side? But there was never a need to worry, was there, Steve? Okay, so my plan was not to spend any money on this project and just use the stuff that I've got in the workshop. And did I succeed? Unfortunately, I did have to spend some cash, and yes, it broke my heart. I bought a sheet of plywood, a small sheet of plywood, 9mm for £16, and I bought the tin of contact adhesive to stick the veneer down, which cost me £13, giving a grand total of £29, which was a saving of $476 or £371. I'm happy with that. I'm really pleased with how the desk shelf has turned out, and it looks fantastic. It looks just as good as a Grove made one to me, and I've saved myself some cash. So can I just say a massive thanks for watching. I've really enjoyed making the shelf. I've really enjoyed making the video. Hope you've enjoyed it. And I'll see you all on the next one. If you can hear a lot of noise, it's blowing an absolute gale outside.